Chassi, welcome
It's
to the
good.
Underground Society podcast. You're originally from LA.
Yeah, born and raised.
Yeah. What was it like growing up there? Because I feel
Sheesh.
like I feel like a lot of people in the music industry, especially, kind of, it's almost like when we're not from there, it's almost this like super glamorous place. That's where like the hub of our industry is. But how was it? Like, do you have a different perspective maybe because you're actually from there?
Um, yeah. I mean, it was always. So I'll give you an example. Like, I have a lot of friends, let's say from Canada, right?
Hmm.
And like the reason I bring that up is because like I'll always tell them, yo, I'm so tired of driving, and they're like, why do you care so much? We drive like 2 3 hours a day. It should be no big deal. And I'm like, you don't understand. LA drivers are a different like breed, and what I mean is like
Yeah.
everything in LA is so different. It's just like with driving, you have to be careful. If you even want to go 5 minutes and you go at the wrong time, it's like a 20-minute drive. Like there's
Uh.
just a lot. I mean, but I love it to the extent of like it's a very ambitious state. Like everyone has like big goals, and there's everyone wants to push themselves to the best version of themselves. And I noticed
Mhm.
that's why they moved to LA as well. But I mean, it's amazing. It just like the weather is amazing. I can't complain about it too much. It just there's just way too much people. So it's just always
Yeah.
trying to find like the middle ground of like how to work around it.
do you
But great place. I
Do
love
you
it.
do you prefer the hustle and bustle and like fast-paced moving life, or would you maybe prefer, or do you like the idea? I guess I don't know if you've ever had experienced this, but do you like the idea of a little bit more of a smaller town, a little bit of a slower paced life?
It's so weird, right? Because I tell this to all my friends now. Like ever since I've been traveling for shows now, and like thank God, I'm able to do that. Like I'm able to see so many beautiful cities that I would have never
Hmm.
thought to like go just like just to go, and like it's weird. I mean, I would prefer the LA, like the big city, to be honest. It's because like yes, I love exploring. Like for example, I've been like in places like Minnesota, Chicago, which like if I wasn't doing music, I would have never thought in my life to go there. But after a couple of days there, I'm kind of like it doesn't hit like LA, It's like there's just something about LA, like it's not the place per se, just the vibe, the energy, like I
Yeah,
think when you're just so used to it, it's like it always has a place in your heart. Like as much as like I
that's
could
home.
complain, yeah, like I could
Yeah.
complain about LA for like 10 hours right now, but at the end of the day, I'm like that's home.
Yep.
Like that's literally,
I feel that.
that's just my heart.
I know that a big inspiration for you was the late and great Kobe Bryant. Rest
Oh
in peace.
yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably a big part of it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Even to dive into subject more, like Kobe was. I'm not even joking because I feel like a lot of people sometimes, until they physically hear from me, think like, oh, is he like, does he actually love Kobe, or is he just saying
Hmm.
that like being from LA? But like, he was my inspiration. Like, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. Like, even like I don't even know if I'd be here today talking to you, to be honest, just because the inspiration and motivation that he put on me to just never give up. And like I wrote this when I dropped my It's Time EP recently, but I was very fortunate to meet him one time, and
Oh,
even when
that's
it was
dope.
like, yeah, right, and like even when it was a dope, like even I mean not dope, sorry, even when it was a quick like 5 minute convo because he was busy, like I just opened up to him like as much as a kid could in 5 years old.
Hmm.
I'm like, yo, like in 5 minutes I'm like, oh my god, like I love you. I'm going through this. I'm going through this. What do I do? Like I was very overwhelmed, and he's like, hey, just like don't give up. Like I know times are hard. Like I've been there, but you're gonna get through it. And I know it sounds so simple, but like it just really stuck to me. And
That's
just like
awesome.
I think just hearing him talk and just hear like because I'm even watching this new Laker documentary right now, and just
Hmm.
like it just I don't know, he was just special, and it's so sad that he was gone. Like when I had woke up that day and saw that he was gone, like I remember like disconnecting my phone for 2 days, and I was just in shock. Like
Holy shit.
yeah, it was like it's not like someone where I'm like just like, oh, like he's gone, like I could like live
Yeah.
through. Like I think about him every day. Like he was again like the reason why I'm even here today. So like it just it's been a lot, but I'm always trying to like whatever I could do with my image to push Kobe as well. Like I'll always do that because I just love him too much, and he's like the reason why I'm here today.
Dude, I've just got chills by you saying that. It's freaking
Thank
amazing.
you.
I
Yeah,
think that's
he's the
awesome when
best.
people have that like North Star, even if it's someone that they don't necessarily have like a relationship with, but it's just someone that they look up to like that, and it really like moves your life in like a positive direction. That's freaking amazing. How were you first kind of introduced to like the music world? Was anyone in your family in music at all, or?
So I mean, family wise, I mean, they were into music, but obviously, like my family being born and raised from Israel, like they were
Hmm.
just into like like Hebrew music, and I never really understood it. But I don't know what it was. It was just as a kid, there was always something with music. Like I always listened to EDM and rap back in the day. With like EDM, like being like wow, there's so many people like Excision, Skrillex, Getter, just like everyone back in the day, you know, like the OGs. And I never thought that I could, like, I guess per se do it, because I thought the dream was too big. But it took me until I was getting some minor injuries playing basketball at the time, and I think with being like growing up depressed and everything, I didn't have the mindset to really push for basketball. Because I know with basketball, it's not like anything else where you could do it as late as you want. Like, you need to be young and like athletic, and by a certain age, you know when you're making the NBA or not. So like, when I knew that was realistically not in the the realistic field for me, like, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna figure this out. And I went to EDC in 2016, and that's when it hit. Like, I was just like,
yeah.
yeah, it was life changing. Like, I went there super depressed, like not wanting to be in this world anymore, just like, you know, thinking bad on myself, like, cause always getting bullied and everything. And I just went to a place where it was so magical. Like, everyone loved the same music. Everyone like just wanted to be there for you. Everyone wanted to dance, and it was just like the way that the artists changed my life with their sets and letting everyone know that we're all together. That's what I want to do for, you know, like 5-10 years down the line when I play EDC, God willing. Like, those kids that went through what I went through, I want to be like the motivation for them, to let them know that, like, you could get through it, you know.
That's
because
awesome.
like, I didn't think I know I say this a lot and I don't mean it in a bad way, just like, I really had it rough growing up. So like, even being here today makes me like, you know, like, I always remind myself every day of like what I went through and how happy I am to be where I'm at today. And I always just want to tell everyone that, like, don't give up, because like, your time is coming, you know. It's hard.
I relate to that on such a deep level. Did that kind of feel like you almost had an escape for, like, once you started producing music and getting more into like developing your project and stuff, did that kind of make you feel like it was like a way to put energy into something new instead of focusing on like the bad? It was a way of like focusing on the good and like actually doing something positive for yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
And it almost
like,
it almost like takes away those bad feelings of like the bad experiences. It's like, okay, I don't even have to worry about that anymore. I have this new passion and something new to put my energy into.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it was like, I think for me, it was like when I like started doing that, it was just, at first, the first couple months were very like foreign to me. I was like, oh, how do I do this? How do I do this? It was just a lot of like gaining knowledge, taking lessons, watching videos, all of that. But like, I always had like once I started, I was always like, okay, this is fun. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing this every day till like, it's like Kobe said, I'm just gonna keep practicing till like, eventually, like, as long as I put in the work, I know the results are gonna come. And like, once I started like really diving into it, like, yeah, I wouldn't think about like the other stuff as much, because I'd be like, okay, like, if I'm going through a bad day, I'm just gonna put that with my music. 'Cause I also do melodic music as well. So like, I'm just like, okay, if I need to talk about my feelings, I could do it with the music now, and I could tell everything through my music. And that was like a very great thing for me, and that's like, it's helped me tremendously a lot.
Such a positive outlet. It's amazing.
Thank you.
When you first got started, you actually did not go by Chassi. You went by a different name. What name was that?
Yeah, I did. So I went by Lays back then, and
Which is very interesting, because we actually have a Lays with it. Like,
yeah,
a colleague
yeah.
of ours is Lays.
Literally, yeah. And she's dope. She's crushing it. But I think back then we had realized we had the same name, and I think there was just you know, there was just a lot of like back end stuff is figuring out, like, you know, how to make this work. And when I really looked at the bigger picture, I was like, okay, let her have the name, because I would rather make my own lane, my own story. You know what I mean? Like I think for anything in general, not even music, like sports, anything. If I don't know how to explain it, it's kind of like, you know, let's say for example, like LeBron's son is joining the NBA soon, but he's always gonna be compared to like LeBron. You know, like I wanted to make my own lane where I'm like, okay, if I just do Chassi, which is half of my last name, and just tell my life story, I could really like push everything towards like one direction, instead of having to worry, oh, like, is this person doing the same thing as me? You know, so I think it was just easier at the end of the day. And I think like it made us both really happy that we're able to just push our own images in different lanes. You know what I mean?
Dope. What's like the messaging behind? I mean, obviously I know it's your last name, like you just said that, but what's like the main message that you're trying to spread with the brand and everything in your project?
Yeah, of course. So Chassi is half of my last name, which is Pinchassi. And the reason I chose that name is because when I had to change from Lays, right? I felt like Lays, when I first had that, it was just like a fun name, you know, just having fun, DJing, partying. Like it was just, I didn't really know what I wanted my brand to be, but I knew it like correlated with me to an extent, right? And like when I thought of Chassi, I was like, okay, my life story is gonna be like, growing up, I had to fight for my life just as a warrior would, and that's
Yeah.
why the whole branding's a warrior. And there's like a warrior would never give up, you know what I mean? Even though it gets really hard and everything, like he's always gonna fight for what he believes in. So my whole image is like, I just want to let people know, like, fight for what you believe in, like don't let anyone stop you, like my whole like trying to think, sorry, everything, because I get asked this a lot, and it's
Yeah.
always like I approach it in a different way because it's just so meaningful to me. But I just like, this is just my life story. This is what I went through. Like, I'm a normal person just like everyone else. I like
Yep.
I don't try to be an artist as an ego, and I'm like, oh, because this is my name, I have to be like this. Like, I'm just like you, I've went through a lot of deep shit, and
Yep.
that's just what I want to push and just let everyone know my life story and how I got from point A to point Z,
So it's really just the brand that centers around like you as a person, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like the warrior is me. Like
Yeah.
whenever you see any like songs, like let's say when I did the fight or it's time EP, and like there was a story around it, those are like chapters in my life of what I went through. So I know when I released the fight, which when did I drop? I believe it was in June. The whole story behind it was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the time where like the warrior has had enough, like, and I had enough of like people bullying me, backing me down, like, they never really let me reach my full potential, and I was like, fuck that, I want to do what I want to do, and just like, like really push it. And It's Time EP was the next chapter, and it was just like, I'm here, like I'm finally, I fought for what I believe in, like I'm not gonna stop, like, because especially even doing music, I know a lot of people really doubted me and stuff, because it is like a big image to push.
It's a
but
lofty goal. For all
it
of us,
is.
it's a lofty goal when you're starting out.
It is. It was a huge risk. Not risk in a bad way, but it was like, like a lot of even family members, like not saying anything bad on them, but even
Yeah.
they're like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, trust me. And all of them today, I promise you, will be like, hey, I'm so proud of you. You stuck to what you believe
Yeah,
in.
it's
You're telling a story through it. And like, that's just what I want to push. Because I feel like a lot of people in the industry don't like, I don't know, I feel like just some people don't really want to push that image of being,
Yeah.
together and like uniting and everything. And I'm just trying to make a change.
A lot of people can be like self-centered in this
100%.
industry,
And
yeah.
I've noticed that as I went, and I'm not gonna lie, me being a really nice person, it used to fucking kill me, and it still does
Yeah.
at times. But like, I think of the bigger picture, I'm like, okay, they probably have a lot going on, and if they don't, and they're just just being like that for no reason, like they'll look at the bigger picture one day. But I can't worry about them. I have to worry about myself and the people that love me and how I can make the next person happy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because that's
Yep.
my goal.
Absolutely. You mentioned bullying and some harder times growing up. What were some of the reasons of like why do you think? Like were they just jealous of you in certain aspects, or?
It's crazy because I ask myself that every day. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I used to get bullied all the time too. It's that same similar story as
I'm
me
sorry,
growing
man.
up, so,
Yeah, it's the hardest, man. But I don't
It's the
know.
worst.
I think it was. This might sound funny, but part of the reason could be because I'm 6'7" and I'm skinny. So people probably saw like a tall dude being a stick. They're like, hey, let's go fuck with him because
Yeah.
he's not gonna do shit,
Right.
Or like, but honestly, I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew. It was just, I mean, people in LA also are like, I feel like if you don't ever like, this is back then, like not now, but like if you went to school and you didn't really agree with what everyone had to say, everyone looked at you like a monster, sort of. Because I was never into like being mean to people. I was always
Yeah.
like respect. I always loved, like, I was very passionate about like, the Lakers and just music and all this other stuff I was doing. And maybe it could have been jealousy now that I think about it. Because
Yeah.
like people just weren't as passionate as I was as a kid, and they were just like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with him? You know what I mean? When there's nothing wrong, I love what I do, and I love
Yeah. I don't know if you can relate to this, but like I think when I was growing up, I was just talking to my roommate about this the other night. I was so like all the time I was looking forward to becoming an adult, and I knew there was going to be challenges with becoming an adult, like a lot more bills and like some adult like responsibilities that you have to take care of. But like I was just so ready to be like out of that, and like now that I am like an adult and I am in that position, I'm very happy and very like proud of what I've done. Like I think you relate on this to a certain degree of like, you're able to actually like live the life that you've always like dreamed of, and you don't really have to worry too much about, I mean, in the industry you still do, but as far as like bullying and stuff like that, like child bullies, that's the roughest, man.
Yeah, they're the worst. Like I honestly at this point I always tell myself, like, if you really have to take time out of your day to be mean to someone, you got your own shit going on,
Yeah.
and you're just insecure.
I don't
Because,
got time for that.
you know, like, why do, let's say, here's my phone. Why do I have to wake up and be like, oh, let me just fuck with this person today. Let me just be a dick. Like, what's the point of it? It's so dumb. And like, that's what I'm trying to like, like within now and like all the time of me being an artist, that's just what I want to push. Like, why do we have to resort to like being mean? Like, the world's already as fucked up as it is. Like, we could make a change, you know what I mean? And like, people shouldn't be looking at the industry and the scene like, oh, I'm scared to go here because people will talk that talk, you know? Like, we should be there for one another. Like, I remember going to raves back in the day and like everyone was so nice. Like, I don't know what happened. Everyone just became so angry. And
yeah,
like,
what happened to Plur, man?
Literally, I know it sounds, people always say it sounds so cheesy, but I'm being dead serious. Like, what happened to Plur? Like, we used to all be there together. Like, what is going on, you know?
That's what was one of my favorite things that like drew me to this industry, and why I relate on the level of like, I want to continue doing my part and continuing on with that trend. But that was one of the first things that like I like really loved about it. I went from high school and getting picked on all the time to like, I went to some place where like no one judged you, no one cared, like everyone was, like,
yeah, like everyone
like,
is just,
that's what I loved about it.
it's the best, bro. It's like, I always have like friends that are like, you know, not in the industry, like they're just my childhood friends, and they're like, how does it feel or like to go to like raves, or like why do you go so much? And I'm just like, you're gonna go one day when I play one of these things, and it's gonna be a huge eye opener. Just, there's a feeling, it's like a boost of adrenaline and like serotonin, and and I don't know what it is. I can never explain it, but like it's just the best feel. It's just the best place to be in the world, and like
finally, I finally feel like it's like some place where like we actually like belong there, you know?
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, regardless if you're in GA, VIP, whatever, like you're always gonna be the people that you love and just make memories. And like, even for me, like I remember when I played Lost Lands last year, like I left most of the VIP and like went to GA just like meet people and just party, because like you can't always just be in the back just standing like this, you know? You gotta like you gotta have fun, you know? You gotta like meet new faces, like have fun, you know? Like you only do this life once. You gotta live it to the fullest, you know?
Have you ever had to deal with like internet trolls or like bullying, like cyberbullying, since you've become an artist?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I think what am I really allowed to talk about? I mean, there were, the best way to say, there were like days back in the day where, you know, like going into the new name and like, you know, like there was just a lot of things where people were like, oh, your music sucks, oh this, oh that, oh, like, you know, all the comparisons back in the day. Like it was really hard to take in, but I've noticed ever since I built that new lane, as I said before, it's really helped a lot. People really saw my image and saw the hard work I put. And like, I think also, like, you know, another huge benefit from being from LA is like, you could go to a lot of shows and network, right? And it's kind of like, you could tell by body language, you could tell that some people would, like, you know, used to be annoyed that they would see the same face a lot. But for me, I just wanted to like push my project because I think that was the most important thing. And so yeah, like I feel like I've went through a lot of diversity and all that stuff, and then I just kept at it and never gave up. Like, 'cause I could have gave up easily with what I've went through, but I've noticed those same people always tell me like, hey, I'm so proud of you. Like, you know, we just never understood what per se, you know, you were pushing, but we get it now and we're like fully on your side. So it's really dope to see.
Once you hit a certain percentage or certain level, I should say, people start to like look and see like, oh, he's actually got something here. And
and it's not even about like you know, let's say clout or anything. I just really care about this music. Like I like this moment, I only have an agent and I manage myself. So like anything music related, like, you know, like let's say if I have a collab with someone, their manager is always like, oh, I could just handle it. I'm like, no, I want to be in it too. Like I care about it that much. Like I care about little stuff like artwork, like pushing it. How to, like, there's just, my brain goes crazy when I think about this. I just love it so much, but I go into detail from A to Z. Like, I make sure that I could do whatever I can to really get involved, you know?
Yep. Have you had to face similar situations with people, like some of your colleagues? You don't name any names, but
yeah, of course.
With colleagues and stuff like that. I know that a lot of the fans don't see what goes on behind the scenes, and
of course,
once you're in the industry, you kind of learn like. There's a lot more drama behind the scenes than a lot of people can see.
100%.
What have you had to face with like colleagues and stuff of like kind of earning your stripes, I guess is the correct way to ask this question.
Yeah,
While
of
you were earning your
course.
stripes, what did you have to face any like bullying or anything like that?
So yeah, I mean, obviously, without name dropping, whatever. Like, I've obviously went through a lot. Like it's like I said, when I had to transition to the new name,
Yeah.
or when I just like when I went to all the shows in LA and I was meeting a lot of faces, and I was very passionate about what I do, but they, I guess, weren't in the same realm as like what I was trying to do. Like it was hard for them to
Yeah.
understand because like I feel like with artists, I've noticed some people aren't as passionate, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just some people just don't. I feel like some people are figuring it out, and some people just
Hmm.
like it's just like this. Like for me, it's like I love doing what I do, and I want to like I always think of like years down the line. Like I'm already thinking of like how 3 to 5 years is gonna be, just because I love it so much, and like I think that kind of terrifies people, so people don't want to like
Yeah.
talk to you a lot because they're like, oh, like he's so fast, he's so this, he's so this. But like I've dealt with like people like that. I've dealt with like people being jealous, and like I've had this one person, obviously, can't really say
Right.
anything, but um, it's just, like people, like he was jealous. He had a group. They would like say false things about me. So
Mm.
there was just a million things like I'll write a book about it one day as like I retire and but I've definitely went
That's a
through it
good idea,
all,
actually.
but right? Like I feel like as you're done, you're like, okay, what do I have to hold back? I can
Yeah.
really just go all in. But at the same time, this might sound insane, but that made me the person who I am today because I had a lot of hard days. Like I had a lot of phone calls with people being like, why is this happening to me? Why only me? Blah, blah, blah. But
Yep.
that actually had to make me open my eyes and be like, okay, this scene, especially, not everyone's going to understand you. Not everyone's going to be the nicest to you, but like screw them, just
Hmm.
focus on you, and like whoever wants to talk to you and make time for you will make time for you, and like I've
Yep.
been sticking by that since then, and I've been the happiest I've ever been because I don't worry about if anyone likes me. I mean, like, yeah, like I have a big heart, so I'm always like, damn, like I wish that could have went like different, but I can only worry about myself and the people that I'm around,
It's always I feel like, because I've just recently got to the point where like I really don't care what other people like have opinions or whatever of me, like, and
and
it's
I
such
love
a
that for you.
it's such a freeing feeling. I feel like it's
It is
like not
like
having to like have that thought in your brain and like getting into a habit of like not even thinking about that. It's like I can do whatever the hell I want now. I
right,
don't care what
right.
people say about it. Yeah.
Right, and like for me, I wouldn't even say it's 100% like that for me, because some days, I'm not gonna lie, I do be like, like, damn, like I think
Yeah.
it's just because I have a big heart. I'm like, I want to make this change so bad on
Yeah.
this person. Like I just want them to understand and be happier instead of mean. But like then it's like you said, I think about the bigger picture. I'm like, who cares? It'll come along one day. It just,
Hmm.
unfortunately, right now, it's not meant to be.
That's time. Yeah. What's some of the people that you've ran into these issues with? How have you learned to navigate? Because I know like when like you're in high school and stuff or like getting bullied in school, it's like, okay, you already know like this isn't going to be forever. Once I graduate from high school, like I probably won't ever talk to these people again. But when it's
Yeah,
something like when
literally.
it's like your colleagues and it's like, especially with this industry, it's like you're so passionate about it. How do you navigate around the negative people and like because you want this forever realistically,
Of course,
so
yeah.
it's like you don't have that preconceived like, okay, this is going to end at some point, like this is the rest of my life, so now I have to like learn a new way to like navigate around these people. What have been some of those ways to that you've learned to kind of navigate around it?
So that's actually a great question, 'cause I feel like a lot of people don't, like, let's say, know how to go around that. I'll give you an example. Like, I don't know, this is just to say like for the future how I would go
Yeah.
about it. So this year, unfortunately, I'm not going to Los Angeles, but let's say if I was, right? And let's say if there was those couple people that I have like that differences with, let's call it that, right? Like, I know for me, like, I can't live the rest of my life be like, damn, if this person is in this corner, I can't walk there because they're gonna like be mean to me. I just have
Hmm.
to live my life, and that was a really hard thing for me to do because like growing up, like going to parties, like if people didn't like me, like I would just stand in the corner and just kind of like be sad
Yeah.
about it, and I
a lot of
wouldn't know what
people
to do.
a lot of
And
people
and
get in that situation.
right, and even today, like I still get anxiety, like I still, like, sometimes I worry, but
Hmm.
I just always try to close my eyes and think of the bigger picture. And I know that might sound a bit cheesy to people, but when you really just sit there and be like, okay, if I'm next to this person doesn't like me, he's not gonna, like, what's the worst he's gonna do to me? You know what I mean? Nothing's gonna happen. When I thought of it like that, I just lived my life like freely. I just
Yep.
like if I see them and we decide to talk, I'm just civil, like, hey, how are you? Like, hope you're well, because that's the image I want to push. I don't like the word beef. I don't like problems. Like
Yeah.
when people get mad, I try to resort to like, okay, like how can we fix this, because it's not worth it. Like, yes,
This.
like there'll always be differences of like what we believe in, but I try to meet in the middle and be like, hey, like it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be a fight. We could just fix it with like one simple conversation.
This isn't the rap industry.
Exactly, right? So like, I love that. So, and that's another reason too why, like, I mean, that's why I knew EDM was more for me, because even as
Yeah.
a kid, when I would go to events, like rap crowds just love to fight.
Oh my
Like, I don't know,
gosh.
like people
Yep.
just like love to fight. They love to be like, oh, like I'm the biggest. I could do this. I could do this. And like with EDM, it just like we said, it just like everyone all comes together. It's a great time. We're all partying. Like the sickest thing I've ever seen, and it sounds so funny, is like when people get in moshes and they fall down, we literally just carry them back
Yeah,
up. I mean,
dude.
like, not me,
Yep.
like I don't know in pits, but like I see other people be like, yo, my bad, I got you. And like
Yeah.
you'll never see that in a rap event. Like once you're
Definitely
down,
not.
you're down. You're down
Yeah.
bad, like so.
Once you're down, you're
Um,
getting trampled. I mean,
right?
look at even what happened. I don't even know how long ago this was, but the Travis Scott incident at Rolling Loud. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
that was rough. Oh
Yeah.
my god, like that was like I felt
Like,
so
that would
bad
never
too,
happen
like,
with us.
never, bro. And I always make it a thing. Like even perfect example. I remember playing the Bass Canyon pre-party, and I was playing. What was it? At one point, and I could get into the story of how it happened, but at one point, the back-to-back was me, Gasly, Yuki, and Perry Wayne, right?
Oh, shit.
And I remember
Nice.
there was a huge mosh pit where people were actually fighting, like literally putting their fists to be like, "Let's go!" And I remember Gasly and Yuki stopped the music because, like, I think it was like I pointed it out, or like Perry, like I forgot in the moment
Yeah.
who, but one of us were like, "Yo, like they're low key fighting," and like. They literally stopped the music for 5 minutes and gave a big lecture, which I loved. And they're like, "You guys are fucking losers. If you think fighting is the way to go, we should all be there for one
Yeah.
another." And like, I was just like, "This is beautiful."
Get the
'cause,
fuck
like,
out of my show.
yeah, right. Like, why do you have to fight like that? Like, I don't know. It was great. I gave them both hugs. I was like, "You guys are legends for doing that." Because I feel like a lot of people don't really notice the crowd sometimes. Because even sometimes I get guilty of like being really in the zone and I don't notice everything. But
Yep.
like being able to spot that is like great, because I feel like we stopped potentially a huge who knows what could have happened, right? So
Yep.
like just them doing that, it showed there's respect in the community, because they stopped right after, and like it just shows that the artists really care about one another.
I'm a huge fan of Gasly. I love.
He's so dope.
Amazing music, but like, what a great person.
Yeah, great. Yeah, oh my god, like every time I've met him, maybe 2-3 times, and like it seems like I've known him for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like even the back-to-back, he's like, "Yo, you ready? Like, let's go." And I'm like, "I love you, man."
Yeah.
Like, it's so nice, it was so much fun.
Other than people like Gasly, the good ones in the world, I guess my next question would be, why do you think people have become so much more like self-centered and fake? Like, what do you think has caused that?
Honestly, and I talk about this with a lot of friends, I think most of the industry, and I could be wrong, like this could be totally wrong, but I've noticed a lot of the industry growing up, they went through a lot of shit. Like I went
Yeah.
through a lot of shit. You're saying you went through a lot of
Yep.
shit. A lot of people go through a lot of shit. For some reason in the EDM like community, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just a lot of us, I think, because we're very like open-hearted, open-minded, like people don't understand us, right? So I think when people finally get that like exposure of like, oh, people want to talk to me, people are like this,
Yeah.
people don't really know how to like handle it. I think for me what helped was, I think living in LA and me seeing with my own eyes people change up like this. I'm like, I don't want to be like that, because I'm not like that in general, but especially seeing that, I'm like, I have to promise myself that like I'm always Ilya first. I'm not like Chassi. Like I like,
Yeah.
yes, my name is Chassi, but I need to be myself and the most OG version of myself, because like I feel like the day that you tell yourself you're bigger than this person, like it's just miserable, It's like I like to just be around everyone and have a good time. So I think the reason people are self-centered and think like that is because imagine it's like us, like you're living kind of like our life, right? Like we got bullied a lot, went through a lot of stuff. And when they finally like get like, oh, this big song, this support from this artist, this, they're like, oh, I'm the shit, I can do whatever I want. And I think that's what they think, but it's like, no, you should be appreciative and humble that this person really likes your stuff and that you're going on tour and that you're doing this, and you should push that positivity towards other people. But I feel like, unfortunately, nowadays it's a very big like contest of like, oh, who's doing this, but it's I've noticed it's progressively getting better. Like I've noticed, like, as you notice on Twitter lately, like a lot of the people that's not deserving eventually do get called out. So I always tell people karma is a bitch, like it will come. So that's why it's like I said, I'm just the OG version of myself. I just push love and positivity, and that's all I could really do, you know. Like it just, like, I think they're going through a lot of stuff, and they just try to resort to like being like cool and having this ego, but and realistically it makes them feel worse, you know.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
like in my opinion, at least from what I see, you know.
I think one of the key things that people need to start focusing on, and something that I've been working on for myself, is you know, and get into service, get out of self and get into service of others. Like every day, like do stuff to where it's gonna, like, I want to serve the world. I want to serve like the people that are around me, instead of like being selfish and like having, like you said, having the ego.
And I love that, and I agree, because for me, like, my motto's always been like, if someone shows me respect, I show them respect times 1,000. And even when they show disrespect, I always try to, like, you know, change that. But it's like, I agree with what you're saying. I always try to do stuff for other people. Like, sometimes it even gets to the point where I don't even think about myself. I'm just like, you know, I just want everyone to be happy.
And I was gonna
try
say,
to find that balance. You
not
know?
yet, and not at the sacrifice of yourself, but still, because I see a lot of people, like, sometimes, like, they'll get too into that, and they'll be like, oh, my opinion, what I need for myself doesn't matter. It matters, like, I just want, you know, being almost too much at service to others.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
To a certain degree, it's like you got to make sure you're good too.
I agree, and that's what I've realized. That's what I realized within the last year, and that's why I've made a lot of changes with myself, because that was another reason for why growing up I was, you know, always bullied, because I feel like I always just said yes to everyone. I was like, let's do it, and I noticed I'm like, okay,
how to set
like,
boundaries.
Yeah, like I can still say yes to a lot of things, but if I think something's not right, I shouldn't be afraid to say no. I should push for what I believe in, and like, you know, it's like I think if you do that and find the balance, like we said, between the both, like your life will be like very happy and very, like, you'll look forward to like always the next thing, you know? Absolutely.
Kind of continuing on with how people treat others around them. Personally, what would you like to be changed within our industry? Like within the EDM industry, what are some major changes that you would like to see happen?
I think people just, how do I explain it? Like, I think people, their first resort is kind of like, I'm here, this person's here, so I shouldn't talk to this person because I'm here.
Yeah,
you
dude,
know
that's
what I mean?
annoying
And, like,
shit.
And it's annoying. It's like, for example, like, just to give like an example, like, Funkcase is one of my best friends, and like, you know, hype wise, Funkcase is here, maybe I'm like here, but he doesn't care. He's like, you're my friend, you're a great person. Why would I treat you different just because you're not as big as me? Like, and that's why I love and respect him so much. And like, I tell this to everyone all the time. And like, I even have a group chat right now. Is just, you know, like a bunch of up and coming artists. And I always tell them, like, it is my goal within the next couple of years to just change the industry. And I don't care who gets mad at me for it. But like, we just need more love and positivity. Like a lot of artists, quote unquote, say they do it, but they don't really, you know, go out of their way to do, you know, like meet and greets, or really like there's one thing to meet a fan, but if you have the time, you know, get to know them, like talk, you know, like really push for what you love and believe in. And like, I think just like disregarding fans for like, just like in the community just between itself, us, like, I think just, you know, be open. Don't be so disclosed. Like, like okay, I've gotten bullied a lot, and I would used to have big trust issues too, but I couldn't hold that for the rest of my life. I was like, okay, if I push so much love and happiness and everything, people are just, you know, they're gonna see that I'm a great person, and they're gonna wanna, I would hope, wanna hang out with me, you know, because I'm just trying to push for bigger and greater things.
Good vibes.
And yeah, exactly. And I think we all literally just need good vibes. I know it sounds like everything I've said today sounds so simple, but it's all those simple things can make the world such a better place. We just need to like really be there for one another.
I'll get on the same page too.
Yeah, literally. Like we just need to, I don't know what it's gonna take, but it's just like people can't just be like, okay, like I'm just gonna like be mean and do this and like not care about people. Like we just need to, as a whole, like there just needs to be something's gonna snap one day. I know within the next couple of years, and we just need to all be there together and just be like,
Yeah.
you know, we're all family. We're all pushing for the same thing. Like, who cares who has what song? Like, we should all like if you're nice, we should be able to talk. I shouldn't have to worry
Yeah.
about not talking to you because you have 100 followers. That's so stupid. And like you cannot take social media too seriously. Like
Yes,
like
I agree.
like yes, like okay. Branding is a huge point, and that's why I'm always on social media. But you cannot, like I said, I think 5 minutes ago, you cannot let it like. You can't tell myself, "Oh, I'm Chassi now." Like that's it, game over. Like
Yeah.
you need to be like, "Okay, I'm Ilya."
I'm still
like,
me.
I could,
Yeah.
yeah, I could have fun on social media. I could goof around. I could push the brand, whatever. But stop going into these festivals thinking I'm this DJ. I'm this DJ. Like
Yeah.
just go as yourself. Go to meet people. Go have a good time. And I think that's what's really gonna change, and it'll happen. It'll happen one day. Cause
Practicing gratitude too, I think.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
if you've noticed within the last, let's say, year to play safe, or 2 years, even with COVID, like
Yeah.
you've noticed that a lot of people are sticking up for themselves, and they're like, "Fuck this! Like I shouldn't have to be like bullied from this person or that person." And like, yes, maybe on social media it wasn't the brightest way, because I know sometimes someone had to call someone out or whatever. But I think we all just need to be there for one another and just like. It's like stop the fighting. We just need to just
Yeah.
figure out how we're all pushing for one goal. Let's do it together.
Yep. Yep. What actions do you think, or do you plan on taking in order to like create the chain or start the chain effect of things changing?
It's so hard, right? Because I feel like I've been trying to figure this out for a while, but I think it's just taking a stand. It's like how like how even with sports, there's been some moments where a specific person took a stand and like
Yeah,
it was
Kaepernick.
for the exactly. It was like Kaepernick, Kobe,
Yep.
LeBron, like.
Yep.
You remember when the bubble was happening in the NBA and Milwaukee postponed the game because of what was going on in the real world? Like,
Yep.
I just want to make a stand. How I'm gonna do it, I need to figure that out. 'Cause that's
Right.
a lot of brainstorming and how to get to the right people in the right time and everything. But it's just making a continuous stand of like, why are we like this, and like we're within the music, especially because I do melodic music. It'll help me because I'm gonna be having vocalists that's being able to talk about real life stuff. And
I was gonna say build it into your music, build it into your branding, like just
exactly build
make it a part of who you are instead of an example. I think. Yeah.
You said it so perfect.
Yeah.
It's like building into the music and building into everything, and I think as people start to correlate like 1+1, like I'm gonna like it's like big statements, like more interviews, more like people recording me, like I don't know, like let's say me outside and just talking, like showing the world, be like, how can we make this better? How can we come together and stop being so divided?
What would you like to see other people do?
Other people, not judge so quick off the bat. Like I know
Yeah.
a lot of people's been through a lot of shit, and a lot of people, like I know this human looks different from this human and that, but I think we're all human at the end of the day. It's like one person's an alien and one person's a human. We're all the same person, so we just need to not judge as quick and just be more open. That's all I could say. Like a lot of people get triggered by one thing. They're like, oh, that's it. I mean, listen, unless it's a very, very, very like bad thing. Like if someone did something to wrong one person in a really bad way, like we should just all be there together and like just be open-minded,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one thing that I've learned too is like not everyone's gonna. You touched on this a little bit earlier. Not everyone's gonna have the same passion, and not everyone's gonna think the same way. Like everyone is different, so it's like understanding where other people are within themselves, within their own lives, and like not judging them for that.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
it's also like a lot of people go through so much shit and no one really knows about it. And the thing that really breaks my heart sometimes is that people only will look out for one another once they make a social media post like, oh, I've been going through this the last 6 months, like, and it doesn't have to be like that. Like you should be able to tell if someone's like going through something and I'll be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck with them more. Like, let's check what's good with them,
And
like,
people should
let's
feel
see.
confident and feel comfortable confiding in like the other people that are around them too, because I feel like some people
Exactly.
like they'll get to that point to where they're like, okay, they're confiding in someone, but then that whoever they're talking to, not always but sometimes, like just judges them for that. And it's like,
Yeah,
dude,
exactly.
they're just looking for someone to talk to, just to, like to open up to, like, and then it causes that person to like not want to open up later on. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot, and it's like it's so hard to say what we could do to change, but I know within our community, especially, it'll happen one day. Like I feel it progressively getting a little better. It's just a matter of time, I
And
think. Before
I'm thankful for the guys like Excision and
yeah, same
Solva
here.
King and like Millennium, like a lot of the top guys, like they're starting to push that as well because I feel like they see it and feel the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like if these big artists could push an amazing image, like why can't we do that as well? Why do
Yeah.
we have to think we're better than everyone when these big artists that's like
Yeah.
selling out arenas and festivals are wanting to be like together, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll never make sense to me, but like we're all figuring it out. I think, especially for like me, you, and all the up and comers right now, we're just figuring out how to like go about it. And
Yeah.
one day, God willing, well, it'll just be an even
Just
happier
happen.
place. Like
Yeah.
just the world in general, not even the community. Like
Yeah.
hopefully we could find a way to all be happy and together.
Dude, yeah, and I think going back to the social media thing, I think that's what's causing a lot of people to. I mean, even with just looking at the world as a whole, like with political issues, and like it's always one side versus another. Like we just need to start to kind of understand and kind of accept that like not everyone's gonna think the same way.
We have way too many people in the world to have the same opinion.
Yeah.
Like if I think the sky is
There's
blue,
billions of
but you
people on
think
this planet.
right, and it's like if I think the sky is blue and you think it's orange, I shouldn't fight
Yeah.
you because of it. It's just like that's what you believe in. Cool, like like I believe in this. Like
The Earth is
it
flat.
doesn't-
No.
Yeah, it doesn't have to. Like oh my god, like especially when he said that. Like I remember when Kyrie Irving said that in an interview one day. And, like, people were like, "Oh, he shouldn't play in the NBA anymore." I'm like, "Why?
Why?
Because the
Yeah, who
Earth is
cares?
flat? Like,
Yeah.
who cares?" Honestly, I heard that. And I just started laughing. I was just like, "Okay, cool." Like he thinks it's flat. Cool. Like what am I gonna do? Like hate the person because he thinks the Earth
Yeah.
is flat? Like. People. But
Yeah.
if we could just understand that everyone's gonna have a different opinion, like that's all that matters, Like we just
Absolutely.
need to like be able to think what we want. Unless it's something very toxic, then obviously I'll be there for that person. Be like, hey, this is probably why.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. But like other than that, you
But
should.
you're pointing it out
have-
because you care about them.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like we should just be able to like. Again, like love one another and just like be able to think what we want without needing to get canceled.
Yeah.
Like we should be able to, to think
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep. To bring it home a little bit, I know we've been talking about how we can, what we want to see change for the future, but what's the future of your career? I want to bring it back to a little bit of like what your plan is going forward with your
Yeah,
with your
of
project.
course. So I think right now, I think it was, what was it? Like within the last 2 months, I've dropped a whole lot of music. And I think that was like I was saying, the next chapter in my career to where I was just pushing the new EP.
Dude, your new EP is so sick. I
Thank
love
you,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's been in the works for a long time. I think I finished that like sometime end of last year. So
Wow.
it's been like it's not like a new like I
Yeah.
just made this a month ago. Like this has been like in the works for a while.
That's
and
awesome.
like
Where was it
it's-
released on?
DPMO.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I was really excited about that. Funkcase heard it. He really wanted to like push the project, and every song too had a meaning. Like like It's Time, especially was Bruce Buffer announcing who I am as a person.
Yeah, that was sick. That was
yeah,
so cool.
right. And,
How did you get that done?
okay, I figured you're gonna ask. 'Cause a lot of people ask me this. Like, do you know what Cameo is?
Yeah, yep.
So like, I don't know if he still does it, but he did Cameo during COVID because I feel like there wasn't fights or anything, and I was like, hey. I will pay you. I need you to introduce me as, and I gave him a description. I was like, this is who I am. Like, if you could do it as an actual like fight announce now, I think that would be so sick. 'Cause I'm a huge UFC fan as well.
I'm slowly getting into the UFC stuff.
It's
I
so
really like it.
sick. It's
Yeah.
so sick. Like I'm not gonna say I was into it for 20 years. Like I got into it right when like McGregor started getting the hype, and like I just saw like it's a fun sport. There's so
Yeah.
much cool stuff you could do, right? But like with that, like I just told him, hey, like, because this was originally just gonna be my Lost Lands intro. I wasn't even gonna make a song about it. Like I just wanted him to introduce me at Lost Lands. And then once people went wild to, I was like, wait, this could actually be a song and like a defining moment in my EP. So like I made that song, and like he was like fully, because obviously with the Cameo you have to accept it. They're just not gonna do it. So he was fully on board. He accepted it. my song "Fight for Your Love" with my homegirl Tamara, like we were just talking about how like I'm fighting for the love to work. Cause sometimes people like the distance when things don't work out, but we're fighting for what we believe in. So like I feel like with all the music I've been releasing lately, like it was just to like tell my story, and it's only gonna keep going. Like these, I'm just planning out these next couple releases. Like I'm just trying to push the image of Chassi and the branding to as much as possible. And like, I mean, shows wise, like what do I have announced? I have the Seattle show next week with Perry Wayne. That's gonna be super
sweet.
cool. Yeah, we're going back to back, so that's gonna be fun.
Nice.
He's a really good friend of mine. Yeah, like so excited. And like the week, I think it's a week after that, I have Houston, and then there's some other stuff in the works that obviously I can't say too early, but I'm just excited. I'm just pushing. I'm just, so I went so deep into this, but I'm just trying to push the brand as much as possible and just try to like really push my story and push me as a person within the community, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're kind of piggybacking off that question. Where would you like to see yourself? Like, what would you like to achieve in the next like 10 years or so?
10 years. Ooh, good question. My goal has always been to headline Staples Center because of the Lakers.
Yeah,
and Kobe.
hell
So
yeah, that's dope.
That's gonna happen. Like Excision did Stadium and Symphonics is doing Forum. Like I want to do Staples Center because it has like even every year for Laker games, I go to a lot of games just because I'm a huge diehard fan. So like to be able to headline that, like the day I headlined that, I could retire happy. I'm like, okay, I like. Like I'm always gonna push for more, but I'm like, this is what I wanted to do.
That's
this
awesome.
was like the number one bucket list. But I mean, doing that, hitting dream festivals like EDC, Ultra, Izu, Rampage. I know I'm forgetting a few right now, but just hitting the dream festivals.
The big ones, yeah.
Doing collaborations, like I want to do something different. Like I want to get like Drake on a melodic song and Meek Mill on a dubstep song. Like I want to do cool stuff like that with people that I really support and like love. So like doing stuff like that, and like just I want to do stuff that like
hasn't been done necessarily.
Hasn't been done, and like like taking the stand, like I said, and the music and the festivals, like these are all stuff that I just want to take it to the next level, and I just want to show people like how to explain it. I feel like a lot of people think that EDM can't pass a threshold, but I'm here to tell you that it could. I seen it with my own eyes. Excision headlined a soccer stadium. It was the sickest thing I've ever been to. Like it was so cool, and like I just think we could keep pushing because like even now, like I've noticed like EDM is it'll take a long time, but it's slowly creeping up to rap. It's slowly like getting bigger. Like
every year it's getting more and more mainstream.
Right? Like I've noticed lately that like it is mainstream, but it's not even mainstream. It's like I've noticed that people don't have fun in rap events anymore. Just all the artists are showing up late. They don't give a shit about the craft. Like there's only a few selective ones that really do care, aside from EDM, it's like everyone always like, okay, this is my set time. I'm gonna put like you could be opening doors here, and that could be the hardest set of the day. You know what I mean? So like it's just like we have so much potential, and I'm just here to like really push that potential and push my story and like all that.
So before we ask the last couple wrap up questions,
of course,
we are running to that time. I did want to ask, what about like LA? I mean, I know your connection with you growing up loving Kobe and stuff like that, but like, why do you think you have pushed and included the whole LA thing in like your origin into your story? Like why? Because I know like you made merch about that. You just said like you want to play at the Staples Center and all that stuff. Why do you think that LA is such a thing that you've built into your brand?
It's so hard to explain. I just feel like if you're born and raised in LA, you just have like a love for like you can ask anyone in LA, because it's like I said, I could complain about a million things about LA, but when I think about the bigger picture, like this is home, like this is I think it's because LA really raised me to be the person that I am today, like having to go through those like difficult times, and like having my Lakers, like like when I think I forgot to say this before, but when I would get bullied in school a lot, like the one thing I was looking forward to is going home to watch the Lakers, right? And that's where Kobe had a big part for me too. And just like I just love representing it so much, because it just feels like home to me, and it makes my heart so happy. Yeah. So like, and I've noticed that a lot of people don't really do that with music. Like I've noticed like you know, Excision is from Canada, but I don't hear him talk a lot about like, oh, like I like, you know, I'm proud,
Yep.
like, you know, I'm from here. Like, I think that's a bad thing. It's just, you know, a lot of people focus on other realms, which is beautiful as well. But like with my brand, especially because it's my life story, why would I not talk about where I come from? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Because it correlates, like it correlates together. Like this is where I'm from, and this is what I want to push, and like I just love it so
Do
much.
you think if you were from somewhere else, say, I don't know, North Dakota somewhere, do you think you'd still be so passionate about where you were from?
Ah, damn it. You asked me. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm always passionate
Yeah.
about what I love, but I'm not gonna lie to you. North Dakota would be a fucking hard state to push rather than LA, rather than LA. Like I feel like LA, like forget LA. Even if I was from like Phoenix, let's say, it's a
Yeah.
lot easier to push that. Like North
Yeah.
Dakota is a bit hard, but
Yeah.
I think it was just also like being from LA, like. I don't know. I think it was just like, you know, watching sporting events with my dad and doing stuff with like my family. They just
Yeah.
always taught me like LA is a great place, you know, and I think I like really incorporated that. It's like even when I would always like anything, like sports, anything, I never try to like root for another state. I was always like, I'm prideful for like my city, you know, I always want to see my city like achieve and get big things.
Awesome. That's excellent, man. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing your story today.
Of course,
As we,
man.
as we wrap up, where can the listeners find you and how can they support you?
So anything at Chassi Music. I'm trying
Okay.
to. Is there anything different? No, anything at Chassi Music. Obviously Spotify and Apple Music. You just have to search Chassi and it'll
Yep.
show up. But yeah, that's how you find me.
And your music is also in our playlist. So if you are listening to the podcast, go to
Thank you
Spotify.
so much.
Yeah, go. A lot of the stuff from your new EP is in that. So if you
Thank
want to
you,
check out his
man.
new EP, yeah. And then final question: if there's one piece of advice that you would tell yourself when you first started producing music, what would that be?
Wow.
I know. I always say the best. I ask this in every single interview, and it always stumps people.
Woo. You know, it's crazy. I actually thought of this a couple weeks ago, but obviously, because I'm in an interview, my brain's like, you're gonna forget about it right now. But I feel like when I first started, and this is what everyone does when they first start, they're like, oh, I want to like be big right now. I want to do this. I want to do that. I feel like just I would tell myself, and this is for anyone that's going through like what I'm going through, like you know. No dream is ever too big. You can always do what you set your mind to if you just push it. Like, don't rush the process because the more you rush it, like whatever, if you do have that quick blow up, you're not really gonna enjoy like when you're standing in a festival one day watching those thousands of people supporting you, it's not gonna hit as close because like when I was at Lost Lands and I looked out, I was like, holy shit, all my hard work is really paying off. Like, wow, you
Yeah.
know? And like, so just take your time with everything, push for what you believe in. Like, don't let anyone tell you no because they're just jealous that they can't have the mindset of what you have. So just always keep pushing. And as long as you keep dedicated and trust the process, you'll get there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, brother, for your time today.
Of course, bro. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah.